Everyone's here, and now we learn these two pincers, yes.
Welcome Reaper fans! Today we are doing the Obsidian Crypt. This is a multi-part kit and is absolutely beautiful. Today I'll be going through a basic setup of how to paint this to a very nice tabletop standard, and we will be going through the process of painting from start to finish in the interior and exterior of the miniature. So let's take a look at what's inside the box. Inside the box you'll find all the pieces you need to make one Obsidian Crypt, and you've got the two side pieces, end pieces, one roof, one piece of wood that goes above the door, one base, one door, and you should have one little clip like so. Now to add the door is very simple. I use super glue for all my miniatures. You can use plastic glue, but super glue is much more effective and less messy than the cement, I find. What I do with the door is you put the door onto the frame like so. You add a tiny bit of super glue just in there, and then you'll add your piece here, and if you glue it just on that part there, you'll be able to have the door so it opens and closes whenever you like. Now, because I'm painting the inside of the miniature as well, I will be sticking it together later, so my first priority is to get everything a primer coat. Now I'll be doing my primer coat in grey, which makes it super easy because then it's going straight onto the ink washes and the dry brushes, and all those that stonework will be done within minutes. But then it's the detailing that I'll be showing you as well. So once I've done the priming of all the parts, I'll come back and we'll move on from there. Okay, I've started on the old primer coat. What I've done, I've used MSP Armour Grey. This is a fantastic grey, and I've used this for all the plastic. I didn't give the Obsidian Crypt plastic a wash beforehand. Even so, the paint went on perfectly well. So I'm very happy with that. So I've covered all the plastic now with a coat of Armour Grey. Now I am starting to go over all the pieces with some Nuln oil from Games Workshop. So I'll go through all the pieces, I'll add all the oil, and then I'll come back once that's dry, because then we can go straight onto the dry brushing of all the pieces. And once the dry brushing stage is done, then we can go on to the detailing of the skulls and everything else that needs to be done. Okay, so all the ink wash has now dried on all the parts. So we're going to go straight into the dry brushing. Now I'm going to use Alien Flesh by MSP. And I'm just going to go over all the stone areas very quickly with the Alien Flesh. And this will bring out all the detail on the stone. So we're just going over the whole miniature with this first dry brush, and as you can see, it brings out all the lovely details of the miniature. It's a very fast, quick process, and we do this to all the parts. Just like so. I'll come back once I've done all the parts and I'll show you the next stage. All the stonework has been given a nice dry brush now, as you can see. Now I'm going to be doing all the woodwork on the miniatures. I've already done the door, and I've used Auburn Shadow for the main colour for the door, and then I've gone over with the same armor grey and alien flesh as a highlight on a dry brush. What I'm going to do now is I will paint all the parts of the wood in the same colour so it all matches in, and I'll do the same dry brushing to the door as I've done to the rest of the miniature. I've already done the roof. What I've done there is just the primer coat, and I've used solid black by MSP for the top of the roof there. Once that's fully dry, I will show you how I add some weathering effects to the roof to make it look rusted. So what I'll do now is I will paint all the wood parts, and I'll come back and we'll go from there. And then I'll also show you on the inside for the interior. With the interiors, they come with some nice like skull effects. I mean, this one looks like it's coming out of the wall, so I'll show you how to paint that to make it look quite nice in your crypt. I mean, you can actually leave it like it is inside and it would look beautiful, but with this it's crying out to have some reds added and make it look like there's something happening inside the crypt. So I'll show you that later as well. Let me show you what I've done now. So far, the outside is nearly finished for all the basic paint. I've added some silver to all the plates and the metal areas. Given over ink wash, and I've done the dry brush again with the alien flesh, so it kind of blends in well with the rest of the grey. And the door has been placed on now, and it's a working door, so you can open and close the door for your minis to run in and out. So there are all the side bits done. As you can see, again, I used for the silver, I used plate mail from Army Painter, and I've just gone over a black ink wash. I'll highlight that with silver a little bit later. Now for the next part, we are going straight on to our roof. Now with the roof, what I've done is I have done the plate mail, and I've gone over the plate mail with a black ink wash on both sides. Now I'm going to be using some weathering powder from Forge World. I have dark iron and I have aged rust. Now the dark iron I will be brushing on first, and then I'll add the aged rust. When you're using weathering powder, always put your miniature onto a piece of paper just to catch all the dust, because it can get quite messy. Now as for a brush, I'm using just a very cheap brush from a pound shop. What you're looking for is a brush that's nice and soft, a very soft brush, because you pick it, it's a powder paint. It's not paint, it's a powder, so we're looking for a very soft, supple brush. And the pound shop just happened to have these, so here we are. And all you do is you go into your pot of paint and you add the dust to your paint, and then you just go over the metal areas, or should I say, sorry, go over the black areas which you want to have that effect on, and you just brush it on. It's very simple. Just like that. Very better. Can't really see too well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going in with the aged rust. So I'll tap off this excess. I'm going straight in with the aged rust. Now with the aged rust, I want to go around all the joint areas. So I'm just tapping it on. The weathering effect paint is fantastic. I've only just started using this paint, and already it has become a very, very useful tool in my arsenal of paints. It really does give lovely effects. There we are. And as you can see now, it actually looks a lovely rust effect going along the roof. Absolutely fantastic. And that's all you need to do with that. What we do, we blow off the excess, and that'll leave you with that beautiful looking rustic roof. What I'll do now is I'll finish the roof. I'll put the building together. Oh, actually I will show you first the interior of how I was going to do that ghostly skull wall effect. Okay, to make your interior a little bit more creepy, what I've done is I've used MSP Dragon White, and I've gone over the circle in the middle of the crypt, and I've gone over the areas with the skulls in Dragon White. And to make them look really cool, all I'm doing is I'm going to add some red tone from Army Painter. Now all you do is you get your shade brush and you go over the areas that you've painted in white, and this will bring out again all the details but give you a nice cultist feel to the crypt. So we just go around with that ink wash. And as you can see, it's bringing out all the details on the floor, or the writing. I don't know what it says. I'm sure it's something nasty. It's summoning demons, devils, imps. We just go around all these areas, and it really does give a beautiful effect. Once that's dry, you can give it a little highlight with some more red, but to be honest, once this dries, it looks fantastic. You don't actually need to do anything to it, because it's doing what you want it to do. And once again, you do the same with the wall. If I put it on an angle, you'll see it better. As you can see, you've got all the skulls that are coming through, and if we add the ink wash, all that detail will pop instantly, and of course it looks all bloody. It looks fantastic. I mean, these are the type of things I love, is the extra detail, and all this. It just makes the miniatures. So all we're doing, add all the ink wash. It's fast, simple, but very effective. I mean, you can see it's picking up all the beautiful detail. More. If you wanted, you could use a skeleton bone after this and maybe just pick out the skulls a little bit, but as you can see, that has got that doom effect going. I mean, that look amazing inside the crypt, and that's all you need to do inside your crypt on all the walls, and it would just look awesome. Absolute awesomeness. Simple as that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this crypt stuck together, and I'll come back and I'll show you the last little bits that need doing for this project. For the final touch, now I've got the building stuck together, is I'd like to add some greens to the bottom of the miniature. This will give a very old effect wanted a miniature of moss growing up the walls. So I'm using an olive green by MSP, and all I'm doing is I'm using a large dry brush, taking off the excess, and we are going to go round the bottom of all the miniature. Just working your way around all the corners. Going up the corners of the miniature, and heavier right at the bottom, and this will give a lovely effect. And we do this all the way around. Again. Going up the corners, just like so. Get a bit more paint, take the paint off. Last little bit. Go right in the corners there, go right up quite high, because the mould is going up the corners. If you look at any photographs of churches, I mean, that's the best way to get a reference for when you're doing buildings. Is actually go onto Google and search old buildings and houses, and you'll see this green going all over the walls. You'd never see a building that's got a nice clean bottom to it. So if you always add a little bit of dirt to the bottom of your buildings, it will look more natural. And that's all you do for that. Simple. So I'll come back and I'll show you the finished miniature. So here we are, here's the finished miniature for today. I think it looks fantastic. This is an awesome miniature by Reaper Miniatures. I'm hoping in the future that you make more buildings. I'm kind of petitioning for a tavern. So hopefully one year, maybe in a Kickstarter, they'll do a tavern build. But this is a nice simple paint. But what I'm going to show you now is one of these that I painted a couple of years ago. And it'll show you what you can actually do with one of these buildings. So stay with me and you'll see what I'm talking about. So here is my full crypt diorama. I made this a few years ago, and it is made out of air drying clay. As you can see, you've got the crypt in the background. And what I've done with this one is I have made little stairs, a little pathway, got all your gravestones and everything in here. This was a fantastic build. I really loved making this one. And all you need to make this is the air drying clay and the paint. All these pieces, the gravestones, the fences, the gate, these are all from Reaper Miniatures. The only thing I've added that was extra was on the top of each pillar. I found these like gothic looking beads from jewellery making. So what I did, I stuck them to each pillar and painted them, and they matched in really well. And I thought it went with the nice gothic theme, because I like to go with a gothic type look with my graveyards. So that's what I've done. But there we are. This is what you can do with your crypt from Reaper Miniatures. You can have a little secret tunnel just there, and this is what I did, and I'm super happy with this, and I hope you like it too. This took me about a week, mainly because It could have been done in a day, but because of the air drying clay and the amount used, it took a week or two to actually dry. Now, air drying clay is very heavy, so it's only recommended for use in the house. You don't want to be dropping this or taking it to your friend's house for a game, or if you're selling miniatures. Something this heavy is not viable for postage. It could arrive in 1,000 pieces. Anyway, this is the Crypt from Reaper Miniatures. Absolutely beautiful miniature. Recommended 110%. So let me show you what I'm painting next week. Next week's build and paint is Stormwing. This is Reaper Miniatures, and it's an absolute beast of a mini. This one will be done in a cold effect with blues and ice. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be adding some rocks to the base and giving it a nice snowy chilled effect. So this is our mini for next week, Stormwing by Reaper Miniatures. Now, if you enjoy my channel, then please subscribe. If you want to support the channel, then please become a patron. All patrons are added to the end credits of all my videos. So, until next time.
Goodbye, my fellow ones. Sleep well. Dream of evil paintbrushes.